Roleplay. It can be a fun escape from reality, even for a short while. I myself used to take part in various different roleplays, but my friends and I used to use them for storytelling, mostly. But this is not a story about an average roleplay with some buddies. This is the story of Pyrocynical and Ivory.
Like seriously, what's with family-friendly YouTube channels?
However, this also works against Pyro as much as it works against Ivory, because it shows that they literally spoke for the period of around 3 years. So you're telling me that you spoke to this person for 3 years and you didn't know their age? Well, first of all, that's bullshit, because your girlfriend showed that she also apparently knew Ivory for that long.
Pyrocynical is a commentary channel here on YouTube. His channel has been around for quite some time, and until recently, he was mostly loved by the commentary community. With over 4 million subscribers, you'd have to be blind not to see his influence over the community. He's collaborated with various different channels, and has a pretty wide reach on the platform. His recent videos cover light topics such as memes, Shane Dawson, and gaming reviews that have an overall positive rated performance. He hasn't really taken much content creation risk as of late, not since his popular series of Morgues videos, which ended with him attending a meetup and not actually being able to get in. On October 29th, 2020, Twitter user Lovebird, otherwise known as Ivory, put out a statement against Pyrocynical. It read, "Pyrocynical groomed me, and I have screenshots to prove it. I've been sitting here thinking about this shit nonstop, being angry and confused and sad that I've had to accept it since I was 15. But I've never said anything because I felt powerless." What he sent ranged from drawn not safe for work to fetishy YouTube videos, and he'd ask me to compile shit for him using tags that he liked on certain websites. At 15, I obviously did it, because he's fucking Pyrocynical. I was just happy to be talking to him, and I was trying to continue that.
You had me in deep hypnosis, and I asked you not to do that.
The post brought up a lot of questions, which I understand. After the events with Slazo and other YouTubers, the community as a whole was more skeptical of allegations towards creators like this. Ivory provided screenshots, reading out things like, "To be honest, I'd pick you up, hug you while rubbing you against my huge, sweaty moves, then kiss your cheeks, telling you how much I loved you, then kiss you on the lips, and let out a hard belch into your mouth." Yeah, shit like that. I won't bother reading every message here. Turkey Tom compiled a Google Doc with everything in it, and if you aren't one of those for reading, Bo Blacks, another very great YouTuber, made a whole video reading out the document in audiobook format, which I will link down below. So at this point, with the creepy screenshots provided, the masses were not pleased. After all, the deleted user title seemed suspicious. That could be anyone's account, you know? Also, considering the messages were so unique, it was possible that this could be faked. Big prank, right? Well, that's when things began to escalate fast. People on Twitter began to show support, some even coming out about their own stories about them and Pyro, with similar style messages. It was at this point Ivory released a more formal statement. This read, "I'd like to clarify that I am not doing this for clout or public attention, and that I couldn't care less about that. This is a message to people who know Nile and know for a fact that this is true, but continue to stay silent. What matters to me is that there are multiple accounts of Pyrocynical abusing his power to be sexual with his fans, which include minors." Which, to me, this makes sense. If he was worried about future victims, or current ones, speaking out on the behalf of others is a great motivator, even if it helps one potential victim. In the Twitlonger, there were some videos attached which showed Ivory scrolling through the DMs at an annoyingly fast pace, but this did prove that the DMs were not completely fake. More importantly, there were also DMs here between Ivory and Pyro's girlfriend that were shocking, to say the least, as long as they weren't altered in any way. She says the fat art they sent was mutual, and that Ivory said to her that he personally liked it, pushing the blame on him and saying, "You're not 14 anymore." Ivory was a minor at the time of the messages between him and Pyro. Even after he turned 16 in the UK, sure, that's legal, I think, but morally, I still find that to be super fucked up. Same thing as the Benji and JJ crap I said in my other video. It doesn't have to be illegal to be wrong. When you find out someone's a teenager, just like, don't talk to them in that way. It seems simple, right? I don't understand what it is about 2020 with people getting exposed constantly for chatting up minors, but it's just gross. Just because a kid says they want something doesn't mean it's best for them. A kid wanting to sexually pursue an adult doesn't mean the adult just gets to do it. That's not consent. It's up to the adult to know better. The adult is supposed to be the responsible one. That's what the whole kids can't consent thing means in the first place. The community, aside from a few, went to Pyro's side, defending him without any proof Ivory was lying about these claims. And finally, on November 10th, Pyro released a statement on Reddit. I don't like the statement, but we'll get into that. First, let's get into what Pyro says here. First, he says when he was 19 and Ivory was 15, they were speaking in furry roleplays. He says he never asked for in real life content, nudes or otherwise. He also says that Ivory never said he was uncomfortable and their conversations were consensual. Then he says Ivory lied about his age until he was 16, but at that point Pyro was banned on Twitter so he couldn't see it. Then he claims Ivory was role-playing with others. And finally he says they remained friendly until September of this year. That pretty much sums up the points. So first off, again, a child cannot consent. So number 3, we're gonna cross that off right there. He does provide screenshots that show people making claims against Ivory, backing up saying he was lying about his age, and at this point, the whole thing becomes like he said, she said stuff. Ivory went on Tommy C and said he never lied about his age, among a few other things.
I had to come out now, and I'd like to hear you explain that.
I really like. I wasn't planning on coming out with stuff too much. Like before it clicked for me at some point that there's like, if I have a platform like I do, and I can talk about something as important as this and be able to move on from it knowing that I'm correct in the situation.
Like, yes, this post shows the Twitter, but Pyro's argument is that he was suspended from Twitter, so he couldn't have seen that. Only thing is, if you search through Ivory's Twitter during the whole time, there's multiple points where he states his age. And the people who Pyro attached to his Reddit post saying Ivory lied about his age retracted the statement later and apologized, so that seems weird. Also, new additions to the Google Doc Turkey Tom compiled show a video from a restaurant featuring Pyro and a photo of Pyro and his girlfriend that doesn't come up in a reverse image search, so that further pushes that these messages are actually true. Questionable, to say the least. So that's a bit odd, isn't it? And here we are, sitting here, just wondering what the hell is going on. My opinion is that the whole thing is gross. The UK has different laws about age of consent than my country, and I'm not a professional, I'm really not. But what I can say is that morally, this is fucked up, and I don't like it or support it. I used to really like Pyro's content. I never knew him as a person or anything, but I always got enjoyment from his videos. I think this is horrible, awful, gross behavior, and in this case, I looked into it a lot. Trust me on that. I'm sure more information will come out within the next day or two. Every time I look at Twitter, there's more information on it. The latest updates on the Pyro Reddit page was that they were trying to use the argument that Ivory had racist statements, which means, of course, he was a liar, which makes no sense because Pyros use the same language. It doesn't matter what kind of language you use. If you're being spoken to inappropriately like that, you're being spoken to inappropriately. These two things don't have anything to do with each other, so it's a very strange argument to try to make. Do I think he's a groomer? Not with the evidence that I have here. I think he's weird. He didn't ask for nudes or intend to meet Ivory in real life that I know of. But I do think the behavior was terrible, and I really don't support it in any way. No matter which way you look at it, Pyro just should not have spoken to a fan, especially to a minor like this. Just no. So let me know what you guys think. I would love to start up a discussion about this. I know the community is really torn about whether to support Pyro or not. And with that, I'm out of things to say. If you like my content, leave me that like, throw me that sub, and join our little community here. Numbing the pain with constant killer content. Bye.